If you've been using MakeCode for Microbit lately, you may have noticed some changes. Earlier in June, MakeCode released their 2020 version of the Microbit coding platform. They've made a bunch of awesome changes, so we're going to go through my top 10 awesome new features on 2020 MakeCode for Microbit. Coming in at number 10, first cab off the rank is more music. Hallelujah. Now we can set the volume of our output when we're programming our microbits. It's going to save teachers and eardrums around the world a whole lot of pain. There's also a neat little graphical interface on the play melody block, and that's going to make it even easier for you to recreate your favorite Nokia ringtones. Next, at number 9 is dot-to-dot connectors. Now this may seem small, but bear with me. If you've ever wanted to rage quit your program because it's been super fiddly when you're rearranging or you're embedding blocks inside others, this may be your saving grace. These little connectors are going to make it really easy to be able to snap those blocks into place nice and accurately, which can sometimes be a bit of a fiddly process. MakeCode already have a variety of different ways which you can share your projects, but they've made it even easier with the addition of QR code sharing. All teachers know that it's almost impossible to get 30 students to correctly type in a URL into their web browser. As a convenient alternative, now you and your students can share your projects using a QR code. Learning to code and learning to create the perfect project is hard at the best of times. For those who are learning in a second language, it makes it even more challenging when they have to deal with this complex, context-specific vocabulary. Now you can utilize MakeCode's in-context translation, which is going to be super handy for any of those EALD learners. A really popular addition coming in at number 6 is Python. As you're making your project in MakeCode, it's now really easy to switch between blocks, JavaScript, and Python. This could be really handy for those who are trying to learn the nuances of each coding language, as well as used as a tool to differentiate learning experiences for students. The next 5, I think, are huge game changers. Coming in at number 5 is the debugger mode. When you enter debugger mode, you'll be able to slowly or step-by-step analyze your code to identify any problems or develop a greater understanding of what's happening under the hood. If you've got a bug in your code, you can set a breakpoint so your program will run to a specific point, and you can take that opportunity to analyze what's happened before moving forward to see if you can fix your problem. I was super excited to see that in debugger mode, you can see live values of your variables, meaning that you don't have to output them on the screen to see what's happening as you run your program. Alright, number 4, custom tutorials. MakeCode's got a range of nifty tutorials which offer guided instruction and limited access to the specific code needed to complete that tutorial. Now you can create your own custom tutorials to guide your learners through the steps required to make their own projects. This is going to be really handy in enabling students to progress through their learning at their own pace. Number 3 is GitHub integration, and I'll admit it, GitHub does scare me a little bit. It seems super involved and way beyond my coding capabilities, but stick with me. With GitHub integration, you can save your projects online, which opens up the opportunities to share, collaborate, test, and track the progress of your project. As you make changes, you can intermittently push them to your account and track the progress and the specific changes which you've made. For teachers, this means you can get your students to document in great detail the progress which they've made on their projects. They'll be able to document any physical changes to the code which they've made, as well as describing in text why they've made those specific changes. It was a tough choice between first and second, but coming in at number 2 is Microbit Classroom. If you haven't checked out Microbit Classroom before, I can't recommend it highly enough. It's an online environment where you can share projects with your students and you can monitor their progress in live time. Whether you're doing remote teaching or face-to-face, you can use Microbit Classroom really well to differentiate the learning experiences for your students, as well as collect meaningful data in a Microsoft Word document to inform your future planning, as well as for assessment purposes. You don't need any accounts, and neither do your students. All you have to do is provide them with 4 icons and a PIN number, and they'll easily be able to join your online lesson. Coming in at number 1, the best feature in my opinion of 2020 MakeCode for Microbit is WebUSB. After spending hours creating and tweaking your Microbit project, Do you ever go to your downloads folder and in horror discover a sea of numbered hex files? WebUSB makes this a thing of the past. Now you can download your project directly from MakeCode in your web browser straight onto your Microbit, which is connected to your computer via USB. All you've got to do is make sure you've got the up-to-date firmware on your Microbit, pair it with your web browser, and your downloads folder will be thanking you. That's it for my top 10 favorite features of 2020 MakeCode for Microbit. It's not all the features. Let us know what your favorites are and let us know what you'd like to see in the next release.